Tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast, go. In a complete and utter surprise, the new M1 iMacs are quite faster than the iMacs they're replacing. Reader's Digest, the magazine that's been around since paper was invented, has helpful tips on how to listen to podcasts for free. An app called GasBuddy, that still cracks me up. An app called GasBuddy has suddenly zoomed to the top in the list for iOS. And in the face of several different standards for smart home devices, Apple has joined yet another alliance called Matter to come up with the one, what does that say? The one smart home standard. I can't speak. To come up with the one smart home standard to rule them all. All of that and probably many more mistakes on my part on tonight's Back to the Future livecast. Go. And to the utter shock of everyone, we are starting right on time with no audio or video issues. And I have to say, guys, that I'm stunned. I'm utterly stunned. Yet. How are you tonight?
Yet.
Yeah. Well, the night is early. How are you tonight there, Mr. David Ginsburg?
I am doing good, Mr. Guy Serle. We were having some fun yesterday on Mac Voices Live, and
we were.
And now we're here to have some more fun talking about more stuff. Yes, I'm doing good.
And the fun will continue tomorrow with the In Touch with iOS podcast that also Mr. Warren Sklar is on. Hello there, Mr. Warren Sklar.
It is tomorrow? Is it?
That is tomorrow.
All right. Thanks for the reminder. I'm good.
That's what I live for. Reminding people of things.
I got a new CPAP machine today, so I got to play with it. I'm very excited about it.
Oh, good. Let's
I never heard anybody get excited about a CPAP machine, but okay.
No, actually, I know exactly where he's coming from. I have used the same CPAP machine for 15 years or more. And it's huge. It's like about the size of a cab over Mack truck, and is about as noisy. So I know that I
have three now.
They're like super expensive. I cannot believe how much a forced air machine costs.
My machine covers it. My insurance covers
insurance.
It.
So here's what happened. My insurance sent me one like 5 years ago, and I didn't really like it, so I got my own. I bought my own travel one because I liked it. And then we changed insurance companies, and I had a sleep test, and my sleep company, the doctor called me and said, you could get a new one. They'll send you a new one for free. I said, I don't like it. She's like, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. So they shipped me the big version of the Air Mini I have. This is ResMed, is what I use. And they shipped me. I just have it today. It's digital, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. It's got the things.
What do you need Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on?
Yeah, mine's got an SD card, so it stores the data. And then also it does have a modem that transmits my sleep stuff every day in mine. So
I got apps.
I have that too.
This will actually lead into one of the stories that we're gonna talk about, and maybe we should just go right into that one.
The sleep to CPAP machines.
Yeah. No, it's actually
putting us to sleep.
Yeah, and it's part of the reason why this episode is called Lord of the Rings. There's an alliance that used to be called Connected Home over IP, or CHIP, and it has been renamed for reasons Matter, and its goal is to come up with a single standard that any company can use for smart home devices, including doorbells, Lord of the Rings, locks, yeah, I know, it was a stretch, lighting, and other devices. And I think in the other devices category, perhaps we could include CPAP machines. So if it ever gets hacked, someone could control you could wake up in the middle of the night, someone's hacked your CPAP machine, and it's blasting out like at 4 times the way it normally does. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Don't give them ideas.
No, well, whether I say it or not, those ideas come fast and furious. So here's this, we were talking, or maybe that was Gaz and I that were talking last week about another smart home thing that Apple has joined, but that had more to do with communication. It's kind of what is that called? The where you have the multiple modems spread out around a home.
Banding?
No. Dave Hamilton talks about this all the time.
Multiple modems.
It's distributed communications, and so you've got several hubs around the house, and you
mesh.
just kind of mesh. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of.
Whew.
Wow,
You're way off. Modems
I know.
You're all over the
so
there.
So Apple is using this standard that's kind of a mesh for communications of all these devices. And one of the things that this will allow these devices to do is, even if you're in a home that has relatively weak Wi-Fi, because this is distributed amongst all the devices, all you have to do is have one device that's relatively close to your router that in turn is connected to other devices that are also connected to that router, and they'll all stay in contact. So now we have this thing where they're joining this new alliance to come up with some kind of standard for how these devices are going to work. Because right now you've got the first generation and second generation devices that are super cheap, but also not particularly safe, easily hacked if you don't change the standards, the default standards, which a lot of people don't do. And then you have HomeKit that Apple's been pushing that is much more secure, but on the other hand takes a lot more setup. And in a completely unrelated surprise, because it's from Apple, is also more expensive. So if everyone is on the same level playing field, then this alliance called Matter works out basically for everyone. It won't matter what device you get or where you get it from. It should all work.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why were you?
Why is everything mutes?
Because I talk too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because last week this happened. You kept going on and on and on, and I was on mute.
No.
Or 2 weeks ago.
That was just me talking too much.
So like now people are asking, are we on mute again? Because they don't, we're just looking.
Anyway, it's always Dave's mic.
The only thing I want to add to that is HomeKit. You said HomeKit was more difficult to set up, but it's actually easier than most things. That was part of the charm of it.
Okay. Well, how do you set it up?
HomeKit?
Yeah.
A device.
Do you have any HomeKit devices?
Yeah, you just scan. It literally gives you a barcode. You open up your camera and you scan it, and it starts to put it on.
Okay, well, let me now see. I have now 2 HomePod minis. I bought a second HomePod mini.
How could you?
And I have stereo sound coming out of my Apple TV downstairs.
Mini stereo.
Now that it's finally working properly. And it's kind of the same thing. You go into the Home app and you scan the little barcode at the bottom of the HomePod box. But what happens if you lose that box or you don't have access to that?
It's imprinted on it too, on the device.
Okay, I didn't see that. So all right, good to go.
But that's what HomeKit is. If you buy a HomeKit device, it has that serial number code thing on the box and also on the instructions and on the actual device itself. So but it all still goes into Home, the Home app. It goes into Home, right? So when
you set up regions or rooms.
Yeah. In fact, if you set up like a home bridge, the home bridge with the computers and the
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi and all that, once it's up and running, one of those little codes come up in the in like the setup screen. It says scan the screen, and that's how it adds the home bridge to your home kit. So it's all easy. The whole point is, when you buy a smart home device for like the Echo or something, some are easy and some are stupidly difficult to get them on the network, to get them set up.
Okay.
And then sometimes it just stop working for no reason. You got to reset them up too.
The HomePod minis are basically the only smart devices I have in this house,
including yourself.
Including me.
That's right. Well, according to the article, I mean, these devices that'll be supporting Matter are not coming out until late of this year, late 2021. But they have they went through a whole attributes of what this whole Matter was going to be designed under, including simplicity, interoperability, reliability, security, and flexibility. So they're trying to unify it all, make it easy to operate. And what I would like to know is, are they going to be interchangeable? So are people going to make these devices that are going to work across the board with Amazon, A-Lady, HomeKit, Google, SmartThings, and more of the other HomeKit stuff, or I would say smart home stuff. So is that what this Matter is going to do? It's going to kind of unify it more than it's ever been.
Well, I mean, it should.
I would hope so.
As long as
purpose.
The underlying technology of whatever is used for your base is working with Matter.
Yeah, I mean, even though they're listing like the Comcast is going to be part of this unification, and Eve, of course.
Yeah, that's frightening.
Yeah, there's a whole list of them on here that are going to be part of it. Well, I mean, you can't ignore Comcast. Xfinity, Comcast the X1 technology just keeps evolving, and they're just evolving with everything. They want to be everything. They got their home security system, which I don't have. But they also have they're adding more and more of the apps as we go here within their technology. So I wouldn't be all surprised you'll be able to do some smart home stuff within their box that you're using for watching TV too.
So that would become another host for
some
smart devices.
Right. You would think, yeah.
A smart home system, right?
Smart home system, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's more out there. Samsung has its smart things,
right? Smart things was listed. Yep.
Wasn't it?
And are they all part of this alliance, or is it?
Yes.
Some of them are. Yeah,
okay.
I think if you want to be in this game, you should be. Because right now, like
it's quite a list.
You could buy smart devices right now that work with, I've
a lot
seen
of different things.
Many that will work with Google Home and Alexa. I've seen many that work with both. They're evidently putting. They actually have to add both technologies to the device. And I'm sure device makers don't want that. So this alliance is supposed to make one standard, where if you just make it compatible with this, it will work in any host device.
Okay, you're kind of fading in and out, Warren. Is he fading in and out for you?
Yes, he is.
Is
that switch on?
I'm fading in and out, man. Whoa.
Okay, man. Cool, man.
Yeah, you got to be on the mic.
I don't know.
So we're gonna go over to the next story. Benchmarks for the M1 iMac in comparison to the 21.5-inch iMacs that it's replacing shows a 56% faster in single core performance and 24% faster with multi-core. In a comparison with the 27-inch iMac, which of course is still Intel based, it is generally faster than the low-end models, but comes up short by almost 30% in multi-core comparisons with the Intel version. So, and this is, and again, this is a processor that has literally kind of almost overnight. I mean, you consider that they just announced these in October. They weren't released until November, December. And pretty much across the board, they're faster than almost any other computer that Apple is selling.
So I don't understand why they keep comparing the same processor as we already compared.
Yeah,
So I don't
well,
understand
that's true.
didn't we do this with the Mini and the Air like 3 months ago?
Pretty
So
much.
it's the same exact processor, right? As far as I
It
heard,
is.
they didn't improve the processor from then to now. So there was that article comparing it to the iMac to the Intel models, and just today or yesterday they were comparing the iPad, the M1 iPad, and it says the iPad is faster than the Intel computers, the fastest Intel. But it's the I don't know, it's the exact same chip that it was 3 months ago, so I don't know why it wouldn't compare.
500 words, Warren. That's what they needed. 500 words.
I guess, yeah, there you go.
That's how it works. So, well, you know, the thing is, as these Intel machines are being replaced by M1 Max, these kinds of stories are going to pop up almost every single time. And the fact that the next batch of computers, which would not surprise me if they're delayed by a few months with the current supply strain or supply chain constraints, whether they're called M1X or M2s, I mean, they're going to run circles even around the stuff that we have right now. So when you look at the machines that are coming down the pike, well, you know, and this wasn't in the show notes, but considering how fast these chips are, is there any real need for there to be a new Mac Pro at this point? Do either one of you see a Mac Pro in Apple's future?
I was going to say, you just said that the new M1X or whatever they call it is going to run circles around the old one. I don't know about that. I mean, because the M1 chip is really fast. And you will notice a big difference going from the Intel chip to the M1 because it's basically a generation thing. But, you know, Apple's going to hit the same point that Intel hit at some point where, you know, Moore's law comes into effect and then it kind of slows down, right? So, you know, our M1 minis are fast, and I don't know how much faster. Like, I'm sure it could be, but like I can't even envision what that would even feel like. It's so fast now that, you know, it's
and this is on a lot of apps that aren't even native to this processor. It's running through Rosetta 2.
So rather than being much faster, I could see it being more functional. You know, putting the giving you more than the 16 gigabyte of memory limit, give you more Thunderbolt port compatibility, so you know, things like that. Being able to run more monitors somehow, putting on the desktop. So I mean, I'm sure it's going to be faster, but I'm not going to. My bet is it's not going to be wow. This is so much faster than the M1. I think it's just going to. I think Intel hit a generational change, but it will be faster, but not crazy faster. That's just my guess. But
we don't really know, but I would imagine that there's going to be, you know, that it'll have more cores. And remember that was it IBM that just came out with a 2 nanometer processor for their latest processors?
Yeah,
you know, and when you think that is like what magnitude of 75% smaller than the 5 nanometer processor that we currently have. And once their yields are up for that process, we could see in the exact same space that the M1 now serves with, you have 8 regular cores, 4 high performance cores, 4 high efficiency cores, and 8 cores for the neural processor, along with 8 or 16 gigs of RAM. You could put a bunch more cores in there in that same exact space. Though again, probably, you know, the laws of diminishing returns, the motherboard for these machines are so small now that if, like, let's say the absolute worst happens and Apple can't get under the 5 nanometer process. So the M1 or the next version of the M series processor is twice as big. Considering the size of the motherboards for these machines now, it's like, oh darn. Does that mean we'll only have about 50% less open space in a Mac Mini than what we currently have?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you look inside with these new M1 Mac Minis, that they're almost
there's nothing in there.
There's nothing in them, and the circuit. I mean, the entire thing, because it's system on a chip, is so small. The whole entire board for these things are so small that it's.
I mean, I saw somebody on YouTube be crazy enough to modify a G4 Cube and put the Mac Mini's system board in it and modify it so it was a Mac Mini, but it was in the design of the G4 Cube.
Well, was that the G4 Cube or was it the G4 iMac?
No, the G4 Cube, the old G4 Cube from years ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
but didn't have a crack along the top. That hurts its resale value.
This is the old Cube from the G4.
Yeah. So when you look at when you look at the sheer speed of the machines that they currently have now, I think that the only way that they can go is just more cores, and to make as much of the software, and this isn't of course all on Apple, but to make as much as the software as possible be native for the M series as compared to having to run an emulation. That's going to be a big speed boost right there when we no longer have to run these applications in emulation.
Right now, for me, the design language is more exciting than the speed of the next stuff coming out. So, again, if you introduced a new design 14-inch MacBook Pro or 16-inch MacBook Pro, I would buy it even with the M1 processor, because that's important. What are you laughing at? Yeah, Marcus.
Oh, it was a comment from Marcus. Ghost of Steve Jobs would toss a Mac Mini in a fish tank and yell about bubbles.
I don't even know what that means.
I'm not sure exactly either, but it's a Markism that just struck me as funny. The next story, M1 iPad Pro. You were just talking about this. Over 50% faster than previous generations in early bookmarks. This shouldn't really come as a surprise, as even the 2020 iPad Pro, I believe, had the A12, or did they move it to the 14?
It had the A14, yeah.
Okay, because so the
one
that I have,
Air has A14.
Yeah, that was so weird. That was so weird that they updated the Air to an A14, but the Pro was still on the A10, the last gen A10. Wasn't it 2018 an A10, or was that an A12?
I think it was an A12. A12Z.
Okay. Well, regardless, it was crazy that the latest processor that Apple had available for iOS was in an Air rather than the Pro. But now that they've got the M1 in an iPad Pro, to say that it's 50% faster than the previous generation, I think is not a big stretch. They were already like crazy fast.
Looking at the Geekbench 5 average multi-core scores, I mean, it's right up there with the M1 MacBook Air, and it's faster than a Core i9 16-inch MacBook Pro Intel. That's all maxed out. And it's like I said, it's about 50% better than the A12Z. No, that's it. The A12Z is the iPad Pro, the current, the current one.
The current one you can buy.
That until the new one is shipping in another week.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, looking at these numbers, I'm excited. I mean, I've got, I think Warren has the 12.9 on order, but I've got the 11 on order, and I'm hoping the benchmarks will be pretty close to what they're saying here on the 11. I can't imagine it wouldn't be. So,
yeah, I've already switched back to my my Bridge keyboard over the Magic keyboard that I got from Apple. I just think it's a better keyboard. You get some of the F functions that you don't get with the Magic keyboard. I can't understand why they didn't include some of the F functions for things like increasing the volume.
Censorship.
There's shortcut keys for it.
I thought you.
Yeah, but you have to hit another key in order to,
Right.
And that's
I sold mine. My Magic Keyboard. I liked it, but not enough to want to keep it. Even if because I might get an 11-inch instead of 12.9. I haven't really decided yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you did or not.
I ordered it from Costco. You get $50 off, so I did order it. But can't cancel if I decide to. But anyways, yeah, I didn't like it. I like the Magic Keyboard. I like it a lot, but it's heavy and it's kind of clunky. You can't, I don't know. I might try the Bridge, or I might try the Logitech one that is in the Apple Store.
I had a first generation Bridge keyboard with my first generation iPad Pro, and liked it when I first used it, and eventually I got to the point where it was just unusable. It just stopped working. And of course, this was out of the warranty period. But when I got the Bridge Pro that I currently have with and it works with the 2018 iPad Pro, it's a really nice keyboard. And it makes the thing look like a laptop instead of, here's my iPad floating in midair kind of thing. The only thing I don't like about most of these keyboards, and it's not just Bridge and it's not just the Magic Keyboard, but you are limited to basically using them in landscape mode. So if you wanted to turn it over again, there's still lots of apps out there that still use portrait mode for their base way that they appear on the screen. And none of these keyboards really work that well with that unless they fold all the way around and behind.
Apple's non-trackpad keyboard did a pretty good job of folding around the back like that.
Yeah, it did.
But
you're talking about the one that had like the soft back and all the rest of that.
Yeah. That does a pretty good job like that.
Yeah, it gets out of the way, but you can still, as you hold it, you can still feel the keyboard in your hand.
Why I'm interested in the Belkin or the Logitech one, because it looks thinner. Like you can maybe do that and flip it around that way.
I had a Logitech one. It was basically was just a Bluetooth keyboard, and it had a slot across near the top, and you could put it in either. Yeah, you could put it in either landscape or portrait, and it was great for that. All right. Next story. Reader's Digest, in a story that might have been more important in 2005, has all kinds of ways to help its readers discover this new medium known as podcasting.
What's going on?
How and where to get them, and how to listen for free. Please note, I've tried to say this without vast amounts of snark and sarcasm. So, Reader's Digest, it's only taken them like 15, 16 years to reach podcasting. And I haven't thought about Reader's Digest in
probably 30 years.
Yeah. It was the magazine that you saw on your dentist or your doctor's waiting table, and it was always 5 to 10 years old.
Exactly.
So I'm imagining by the time people actually see this Reader's Digest, podcasting will have been replaced with something that directly injects media into your brain. So anyway, I just thought when I saw this story, I just thought that was funny. The last story I have for tonight is a story about GasBuddy. This is an app for finding the best prices for gas, and it has hit the top of the iOS app charts, overtaking Coinbase, which is for buying and selling Bitcoin.
Cybersecurity.
The app and a Twitter account for keeping track of gas stations that have run out of fuel with the hack of the Colonial Pipeline that supplies about 45% of all the gas distributed on the East Coast of the U.S. Other apps on the list also include TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So it's not all doom and gloom. Now, have either one of you tried to get gas lately?
Yeah, I got no problem here.
Yeah.
No problems here.
Gas.
We have a pipeline here.
I don't need no gas.
It's a yeah, because you got a Tesla.
I'm laughing at everybody.
Doesn't your wife have a gas car?
Yeah, but she works from home. She hasn't driven in like months.
Well, I'm like the only one. I'm one of the few people in my office that goes in nearly every day, and I have enough gas to get to and from work until probably maybe next Monday. So I really, really need this thing to be over.
It's over. The pipe is open now. They got to catch up.
Yeah. So now they just have to get gas out to all the stations that have run out. And I was leaving Monday. I took my wife and one of my sons over to Port Royal, which is on the east coast of Virginia, to just do some stuff for Mother's Day. And on my way back, because I'd heard about the hack, on my way back, I was in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And I was like, well, should I fill the car up with gas? I was like, nah, I'll do it tomorrow. So I went ahead and took Peter home, and my wife and I went home. And then I got up the next day, and on my way to work, and today as well, just huge lines. And the really big problem isn't that there wasn't enough gas. It was people that were panicking and topping off their gas tanks instead of just waiting to see what would happen. So they'd have a half to 3/4 of a tank of gas, and they're using GasBuddy and they're using, other similar apps to go ahead and find open gas stations so they can top off their tanks. In the meantime, people who are almost out of gas can't get it because all these stations are now out. And the one thing that I saw on my way home today that I can't recall seeing until or since probably some, the gas crunch in the 70s, because I'm an old guy, was just how little traffic. And there was more traffic during the worst of the pandemic leaving DC than there was yesterday and this afternoon, where the streets were almost empty. Because I guess people were like, well, maybe I should work from home today. It's like, yeah, you think?
Ration.
You think? So hopefully we can put this in the rearview mirror. And whoever it was that still had Windows XP on one of the pipeline computers will be fired. Or whatever it was that they downloaded that spread this virus across their entire freaking network. Or here's an idea: put Macs on there instead. Oh, crazy talk. That's just crazy talk. So what was Pennsylvania affected by this, Warren, or do you know?
No, I saw a graph of there's 10 or 12 states that are
mostly on the southeast.
Yeah,
southeast, like the Carolinas.
It said in the news story it's a little bit, but nothing.
Yeah, my son Peter is actually, he and some of his friends are going down to Florida in about a week, and they're driving. And I was like, I hope that this is over before you guys get going. And it's going to be kind of a short trip. All right, well that's all I've got for us tonight. Do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about tonight?
Nope. Sell Bitcoin while you can. Everything's crashing. The whole
the market was down over 500 points.
The market, but right now, as of right this second, crypto is like all of it.
Yeah, I've avoided Bitcoin this long. I'll keep avoiding it.
Yeah,
I have a little.
Yeah,
I had a little bit, but it's going away now. So I might be getting the 2020 iPad instead of the new one. So as of today. As of right now, with
all that extra money that you made from Bitcoin, was it Dogecoin or what was that called?
No.
Dogecoin.
Doge.
No, I was going to get
Elon Musk,
the better one, but yeah, it's not
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a whole nother topic for another day.
And we're not even going to get into it. Yeah. So, Warren, if people wanted to get a hold of you and say, "How can I get into this crypto stuff?" How would they do so?
I would say don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Back to the Future Facebook group, in touch with iOS with Dave, and the show that we're doing here right now. It's the best ways to look at me if that's what you want to do.
Cool, man. All right, Dave, how about you?
As Warren said, In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. You can find me on Mac Voices Live every Tuesday night on YouTube with Chuck Joyner and crew, including Mr. Guy Serle as well. I'm also on here every Wednesday night, and I am also on the Mac Show with the British Tech Network with Jeff Gamet and Chuck and all kinds of other fun folks. We do that on Friday. We record those on Friday mornings. I'm on that.
Are there actually British people on that show?
There is, yeah. Usually. No. They have a sponsor, MyMac, which is a UK
reseller
Mac repair shop, and they do resell too. And what's his name? I'll remember his name in a minute. But he's one of the techs on the show, and
I hear him every once in a while on
Callum.
The Mac and Forth podcast there with Carl.
Oh, has he been on there too? I didn't know. Yeah. It's Callum O'Hare is his name. He's one of the techs that works for iMacs, and Ewan hasn't been able. Ewan's the normal host, and he hasn't been on for quite a while because he's been busy working. So Jeff Gamet's been doing a great job filling in, and Patrice, she's on there too. So,
all right.
So and Dave G65 on Twitter. Thanks. Sorry, we're going on and on about that. Sorry. Go ahead.
Dave G65. Okay.
Yeah.
If you'd like to get hold of me, the Skype telephone number is 703-436.
I remember when I was using Skype.
Yeah. Oh, hit that Skype thing. I have 2 Twitter accounts. One is Mac Pettit, and the other one is VertShark. VertShark.com is the website that I haven't been updating lately because I'm just so lazy.
How could you?
I know. So awful. Guy at MyMac.com is the email address. The MyMac.com podcast is the long-running podcast that I do with Gaz nearly every single week. We've been going for over 11 years now. And on even less frequent than that is the Guy's Daily Drive thing that I do sometimes live, but not lately.
It's been a long time.
It has been a lot. It's been almost 2 months since I've done a Guy's Daily Drive.
A long time.
Yeah. I need to set my priorities right. So, but that is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you all so very, very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see all of all of you right there next week, right here on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go.
Oh,
we're going. Bye.